Hello everyone, myself Sandeep Kumar Sinha. Welcome back once again to my channel with a new topic on consumers equilibrium. Let's start. We all know that the equilibrium of a consumer is related to the point of maximum satisfaction. Now the question arises, how many units of a commodity the consumer would purchase to reach to that point of maximum satisfaction, that is point of equilibrium. Let me explain it. We know that the purchase of any commodity depends upon three factors. Number one is the price of the commodity in the market. Number two, marginal utility derived from that additional unit of that commodity. And number three is the marginal utility of money, that is marginal utility of 1 rupee, which is taken to be constant in this theory of consumers equilibrium. Now at the time of making the purchase of a commodity, always the consumer compares two things. One is the price paid by the consumer for that particular unit of the commodity, and another one is the satisfaction that he gets in terms of money. How the satisfaction in terms of money can be calculated? These two are different terms. Why it is converted in terms of money? Because we know that the utils is the unit of satisfaction or utility, but the rupee is the unit of price, that is price is expressed in terms of rupees, but the satisfaction is in terms of utils. The two units are different, and that's why a comparison cannot be made. So for making a comparison and to reach a concrete conclusion, the units of the two quantities should be same. Now how this marginal utility in terms of money is calculated? Suppose marginal utility of any commodity, of any unit of a commodity, it is suppose given is equal to 20 utils. Suppose it is 20 utils, and suppose the price paid is equal to rupees 4 पर यूनिट. एक यूनिट का अगर कीमत है 4 रुपया, and suppose the satisfaction that the consumer gets is worth 20 utils. So these two terms are different. One is in rupees, another one is in utils. Comparison cannot be made. So therefore what is to be done? This one is converted into the terms of money, means marginal utility derived from this consumption unit is converted into rupee terms. How? It is divided by the marginal utility of money, that is equal to, कहते हैं क्या, satisfaction in terms of money. This is the satisfaction in terms of money. Means what we do, we just divide marginal utility derived from that particular unit of a commodity by the marginal utility of money, that is marginal utility of 1 rupee. Let marginal utility of money be equal to 2 utils, that is marginal utility of 1 rupee is equal to 2 utils. Now how can we get this marginal satisfaction in terms of money? Then we divide this marginal utility by the marginal utility of 1 rupee. Then what is this is 20 utils, this is 20, and this is 2 utils, that is 2 is equal to worth 10 रुपीज. ये 10 रुपया के बराबर सेटिस्फैक्शन मिलता है. नाउ द टू टर्म्स आर इन द सेम यूनिट, दैट इज इट इज इन रुपीज, इट इज इन रुपीज. नाउ अ कंपैरिजन कैन बी मेड बाय द कंज्यूमर एट द टाइम ऑफ मेकिंग द परचेज, एंड इफ there is a difference, means if the satisfaction that the consumer gets is more than the price paid by the consumer for that particular unit of the commodity, then the consumer will take the decision to make the purchase of that commodity. And if it is less than the price paid, then the consumer would not make the purchase of that commodity. Here what is the situation? It is MUX by MUM, that is more than the price paid. So what the consumer would do? Consumer would purchase that unit. वो उस यूनिट को परचेज करेगा, would purchase that unit. And in the similar manner, ये कब तक चलेगा हमारा? जब तक ये बराबर नहीं हो जाता. And if कहते हैं, if the satisfaction in terms of money, that is MUX by MUM is less than the price paid, that is decrease in consumption. Consumption वो हमारा कम करेगा, नहीं करेगा, मतलब जिस यूनिट पर वो हमारा ऐसा आता है, satisfaction in terms of money is less than the price paid, then the consumer would not purchase that commodity. Means at the time of making the purchase of a commodity, the consumer would always compare the price paid by the consumer, that is in terms of rupees, and the satisfaction derived in terms of money, that is also in terms of rupees. And if it is more than or at least equal to the price paid, then only the consumer would make the purchase of that unit. Let me explain with the help of the schedule that I have drawn on the board. Let suppose the commodity purchased by the consumer is X. This commodity X is consumed and purchased by the consumer. Price of the commodity is equal to rupees 1 per unit. That is simple hypothetical figure, just for the sake of explanation I have just written it. That is the hypothetical figures. Marginal utility of money, that is marginal utility of 1 rupee is equal to 2 utils. What does it mean? Means 2 utils is equal to worth 1 rupee. माने 2 utils 1 रुपया के बराबर है. Now the marginal utility schedule is drawn. The consumer is consuming suppose 7 units of that commodity, and the additional satisfaction that the consumer is getting from those 7 units are simply written in the form of a table. That the marginal utility schedule of commodity X is given, that is the consumer would consume or would be consuming. Now look at here. Now for the first unit, question arises whether the consumer would purchase this unit of the commodity or not. Answer is yes. Why? Because look at here, marginal utility of money, that is equal to 2 utils, that is taken to be constant. It simply means that 2 utils is equal to worth 1 rupee. मतलब 2 यूटिल्स जो सेटिस्फैक्शन है वो 1 रुपया के बराबर है. 2 यूटिल्स इज इक्वल टू 1 rupee. Now what is the satisfaction that the consumer is getting from the first unit of the commodity? That is 10 utils. That is first unit gives him satisfaction equal to 10 utils. Now this is the satisfaction in utils. So it has to be converted into the money terms, MUX by MUN. What is this? This is 10 and divided by, that is 2. This is 2 is equal to worth 5 rupees. Means the consumer is getting satisfaction worth 5 rupees. And how much the consumer is paying? That is 1 rupee only. Means price paid is less than the satisfaction that the consumer gets in terms of money. Here what do we observe? Satisfaction in terms of money, that is the ratio of marginal utility and marginal utility of money is more than PX, that is price paid. What is PX? What the consumer pays. What the consumer is paying? 1 rupee. He is paying or she is paying only 1 rupee. And what this ratio tells? What the consumer gets. So consumer gets from additional unit, मतलब उस फर्स्ट यूनिट से वो कितना सेटिस्फैक्शन मिलता है या कितना उसको लेता है इन टर्म्स ऑफ मनी. मीन्स मनी के टर्म्स में, इन टर्म्स ऑफ मनी. व्हाट इज दिस? दिस इज इक्वल टू मीन्स 5 rupees. 5 rupees is the satisfaction, and that is equal to 1 rupee. Means 5 rupees is more than this 1 rupee, and therefore any rational consumer would purchase this first unit. Why? Because the consumer is getting more satisfaction in terms of money than the price paid, and therefore the consumer would purchase this first unit. तो first unit का consumption करेगा, परचेज करेगा. दैट इज सिंपल डिसीजन टेकन बाय द कंज्यूमर. तो देयरफॉर लिखेंगे क्या हम कि देयरफॉर द कंज्यूमर वुड परचेज द फर्स्ट यूनिट. मींस पहला यूनिट हमारा ये परचेज करेगा. क्यों करेगा? बिकॉज the satisfaction in terms of money is more than the price paid by the consumer for that first unit of the commodity. Similarly, now for the second unit. Now the same question arises whether the consumer would purchase the second unit or not. Answer is again yes. Why? Because the same reasoning. Look at here on the board. For this second unit, this is the first unit. Now the second unit, for the second unit, the same situation, marginal utility of money is equal to 2 utils. That is 2 utils is equal to what? Rupees 1. And marginal utility from the second unit that the consumer gets is equal to 8 utils, which is clear from the schedule. This 8 utils, that is in the terms of satisfaction, that is unit of satisfaction, it has to be converted into rupee terms. Then this is equal to 8 by 2, that is equal to worth 4 rupees. 4 rupees का मिलता है satisfaction, and what the price paid, that is only 1 rupee. Then again, what is this? This is mu2 and divided by mum. This is the ratio 8 by 2. And what is this ratio? Again we find that the ratio of marginal utility and the marginal utility of 1 rupee, that is money, it again more than the price paid. Price paid is only 1 rupee and the satisfaction is worth to 4 rupees. 4 रुपया के बराबर सेटिस्फैक्शन मिलता है और 1 रुपया उस यूनिट के लिए वो खर्च करता है. देन द रेशनल कंज्यूमर वुड डू व्हाट टू? देन परचेज द सेकेंड यूनिट. एंड देयरफॉर द रीजन, डिसीजन क्या होगा कंज्यूमर का? कि कंज्यूमर वुड परचेज द सेकेंड यूनिट. सेकेंड यूनिट वो परचेज करेगा, वुड परचेज द सेकेंड यूनिट. This consumer takes the decision. How? Comparing these two, the satisfaction in terms of money with the price paid for that unit of the commodity. Similarly, for the third, fourth unit, fourth unit, what do we observe? That is the third unit, mu3 is equal to, that is 5 utils. This is equal to 5 utils. is equal to 5 by 2. Dividing it by this means mu3 थर्ड यूनिट का अगर मार्जिनल सेटिस्फैक्शन को डिवाइड कर देते हैं मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी ऑफ मनी से, देन इट इज वर्थ रुपीज, दैट इज 2.5, मतलब 2.5 रुपया, 2.5 रुपीज का सेटिस्फैक्शन मिलता है एंड द प्राइस पेड इज फॉर दैट यूनिट इज 1 रुपी. सिमिलरली फॉर द फोर्थ यूनिट द एडिशनल सेटिस्फैक्शन इज वर्थ 3 यूटिल्स. This is equal to 3 utils and this is equal to, that is 3 by 2. When we divide it by the marginal utility of money, that is MUM, this is equal to 3 by 2, that is 1.5 rupees, worth 1.5 rupees. In both the situations, again the consumer is getting more than what the consumer pays for the third or the fourth unit. Then what is the observation here? Again the same observation is there, that is the marginal utility of commodity, that for that unit divided by the marginal utility of money. In both the situation it is more than the price paid. In the same conclusion, that is what he gets from additional unit, वो जो भी एक्स्ट्रा एडिशनल यूनिट से जो उसको सेटिस्फैक्शन मिलता है इन टर्म्स ऑफ मनी, इसको जब हम कन्वर्ट करते हैं रुपी टर्म्स में, इन टर्म्स ऑफ मनी, देन इट इज मोर देन व्हाट ही पेज फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर यूनिट ऑफ द कमोडिटी कंज्यूम्ड, एंड देयरफॉर द कंज्यूमर वुड डिसाइड टू मेक द परचेज ऑफ द थर्ड and the fourth unit of the commodity. Why? Because the satisfaction that the consumer gets in terms of money is more than the price paid. And therefore, how the decision came? Just after making the comparison of the two units, that is the price paid and the satisfaction in terms of money. And if the satisfaction in terms of money is more than the price paid, then the consumer decides to make the purchase of that commodity. Now look for the fifth unit of the commodity. What is the situation? For this fifth unit, this is fifth unit, what is the marginal utility that the consumer gets from this fifth unit is equal to 2 utils. And if it is converted into money terms, means we divide this number by the marginal utility of 1 rupee, that is 2 utils. This is equal to worth 1 rupee. Then what is the observation? Price paid is 1 rupee. And the satisfaction that the consumer gets in terms of money is also worth rupees 1. Means MUX, here what is the situation? MUX by MUM means ratio of the marginal utility of that unit of the commodity and the marginal utility of 1 rupee. That is marginal satisfaction in terms of money is equal to the price paid. Means what the consumer gets in terms of money, that is the ratio of marginal utility and the marginal utility that is of 1 rupee. इन दोनों का जो रेशियो जो बताता क्या है कि how much is the satisfaction in terms of money, and what is this PX, what the consumer pays, both become equal, and that is called the point of equilibrium. Means now at this level, consumer reached to that point where he is getting satisfaction equal to the price paid. How much he is paying? Only 1 rupee. How much he is getting? Only 1 rupee. That is worth 1 rupee is equivalent to 1 rupee. Both become equal, and that is the point of equilibrium. Now look at here, whether the consumer would consume this 6th or 7th unit or not. But beyond that unit of consumption, if the consumer further does consumption for the 6th and 7th unit, then what is the situation? Now look at here, whether the consumer would purchase or not. Now for the 6th unit, for 6th and 7th unit. For the 6th unit, marginal utility is equal to, that is 0, means it is reaching to 0. And what is its satisfaction in terms of money? That is equal to 0 by 2, that is worth 0 rupees. Means satisfaction is worth 0 rupees, and the price paid is 1 rupee less than. Similarly, MU7, 7th unit, the satisfaction, additional satisfaction is negative, that is -2. And when it is further converted into money terms, then MUN is equal to -2 by 2, that is -1. And that is worth -1 rupees. Now this is negative, and that is 1, again less than the price paid. What is the observation here? When the consumer does the consumption of 6th and 7th unit, then how much he is paying more than what he gets. What he gets, that is the satisfaction in terms of money. It is less than the price paid. What do we observe here? That is MUX by MUM is less than the price paid. Means what the consumer pays. Consumer कितना pay करता है? That is 1 rupee. How much is the consumer paying? That is 1. And this is what the consumer gets in terms of money. That is less than the price paid. What the consumer gets. Now it is expressed in terms of money by getting the ratio of the marginal utility and marginal utility of money. Now in this situation, the consumer would never does the consumption of the 6th and 7th unit. Why? Because the price paid is more than the satisfaction that the consumer gets in terms of money. It means, what is the decision taken by the consumer? Consumer would stop consuming after this 5th unit. Means the consumer would stop consuming, and after 5th unit, that the 5th unit of consumption is the point of equilibrium. Then how does the consumer reach the point of equilibrium? What is the condition? Condition क्या निकला हमारा equilibrium का? How the consumer decide whether to make the purchase of that commodity or not. This is the condition after going through all this condition of equilibrium, means comparison between the two, that the price paid and the satisfaction in terms of money, that is ratio of marginal utility and the marginal utility of money. What he gets, what is this ratio, and indicates what the consumer gets from additional unit. एक भी एक्स्ट्रा यूनिट अगर वो कंज्यूम करता है तो उस एडिशनल यूनिट से वो कितना मिलता है, उसको satisfaction, that is expressed in terms of money, how much the consumer is getting, and this is the PX, means what he pays, what is the price paid for that particular unit of the commodity. If the two become equal at any point of consumption, then that is the point of equilibrium for that consumer. Means consumer would attain equilibrium only at that point of consumption where the ratio of the two, that is marginal utility and marginal utility of the ratio of this marginal utility of that unit and the marginal utility of money, that is marginal utility in terms of money, becomes equal to the price paid for that unit of the commodity, which is the condition of equilibrium. Thus, how the consumer would decide how many units of a commodity the consumer would purchase, that is based upon this condition. If the consumer finds that at any point of consumption the satisfaction in terms becomes equal to the price paid, then from or beyond that point of consumption the consumer will not purchase or consume the additional unit and will stop purchasing the additional units of the commodity. Thus we can say that equilibrium is attained at that point where the two becomes equal. Now the question arises, how many units of the commodity that consumer will purchase? This is the 1, 2, 4 and 5. Only these 5 units of the commodity are consumed or purchased by the consumer. Number of units purchased is equal to, that is 5. And total satisfaction, or what is the total utility that the consumer gets, how much is the satisfaction that the consumer gets, which is maximum, is equal to 10 plus 8 plus 5 plus 3 plus 2, that is equal to 28 utils. Thus the consumer would consume only 5 units of that commodity, and the maximum satisfaction from the purchase of those 5 units that the consumer would get is 28 utils. One less or one more would not give him the more satisfaction. Satisfaction would be less. And that is all about the consumer's equilibrium in case of a single commodity using marginal utility analysis. Till then, keep watching and keep learning. Goodbye. Thank you.